Once, a very long time ago, a man lived in this land. Most people don't know about his story, but nevertheless, his extraordinary legend has come down to us today by word of mouth, from one generation to the next. In fact, anyone down at the port knows his story. It is said that one day, a fisherman caught a large shark in his net. The shark began to speak and reassured the poor man, who had complained that in his life he had nothing. The shark said that in order to make his dreams come true, the man would have to kill him and bury his sharp shark's teeth in his garden. And so the fisherman did just that. From the very first moment after planting the shark's teeth, a large tree started to grow, and then one day, right before the fisherman's incredulous eyes, it turned into a white horse, which invited him to jump up into his saddle. The horse led the humble fisherman all around the world. A few years went by, and by performing incredible feats of magic, the fisherman had become rich and famous in every corner of the world. Until one day, tired of wandering, he decided to return home, where he realized that he had lost his family and friends, and above all, that he had ruined his happiness. So while he was sitting sadly in his garden, the fisherman saw a small fish squirming in pain in a clod of earth. He took it in his hands, and the little fish turned into his shark friend, who invited him to follow him. The fisherman dived onto his back, and they disappeared together forever under the sea. And some say they are still wandering together out there amongst the waves.
I never actually left. As every seaman knows, the soul of a fisherman is always tied to a port, one that he can call home. And I was born here, in beautiful Trani. The Romans built embankments on the river here, and so the city began to grow. Merchant ships loaded with wines and oil from our provinces sailed from here to Dalmatia every day. Yes, what a great city my Trani was. Saracen pirates were always attempting to raid us, but Trani knew how to defend itself, even under Byzantine rule. For a short time, we were ruled by the Lombards, the people of the north who built impressive walls. At that time, we were proud to host the Episcopal See. It's with nostalgia that I recall Count Pietro, a Norman, a man of great intellect. He was a man who fully understood the spirit of Trani. He wanted to regulate navigation, the maritime economy, and give dignity to the sailors, to see them no longer as slaves, but as men. The sea was our fortune, our fate, our future, and all our hopes went into the waves. How many men have we set sail from these docks over the centuries never to return? How many brave knights travelled from here in their quest to liberate the Holy Grail of Jerusalem? Distant echoes of these wars were brought by the merchants who arrived in the city. A large Jewish community lived in Trani. Business flourished, and with it, the city. Blond and handsome was the king, and of such generous aspect, wrote Dante of Frederick II in his Divine Comedy. And with Frederick and his son Manfredi, Trani saw a truly golden age. Walking through lodges and warehouses, you could hear the Venetian dialect, the Genoese. Even Florentine bankers opened branches here. Emperor Frederick built an imposing fortified castle that stood out on the coast, and mighty walls that remained standing until the 19th century. What has this port not seen? Stories of saints, heroes, of men have been brought here by the waves. Perhaps you have heard of Landolfo Ruffolo, a Ravello merchant? His misadventures were even recounted by Boccaccio. We were among those who had rebelled against the dominion of Aragon, but we were unable to resist. Those who have no faith or did not see it with their own eyes, like me, will never be able to believe in a most miraculous event. It must have been 1480. The Saracens had plundered the monastery of Colonna, taking away the crucifix as a sign of disrespect. But as they were trying to leave, their ship seemed anchored down and could not set off, until their leader drew his saber, and with a blow he slashed the crucifix across its face, and blood began to flow. He threw it into the sea, and the ship managed to set sail, while the crucifix floated at the mercy of the waves. For this cross, a chapel was erected on the seafront, and every May the 3rd, a procession commemorates the holy miracle. The Saracen lootings had impoverished us, and the discovery of the Americas changed trade routes, and numerous plagues depopulated these lands. However, for centuries, since the end of the 16th century, we were invested with the appointment of the capital of the province of the land of Bari, since the sacred royal audience resided here. What you can see today walking through the alleys of the centre, or walking in the shadow of the majestic cathedral, is the beauty that history has left us. But how has the face of the city changed in the last century? The chilling cries of Easter Monday in 1943, the screams, the tears, and then the silence. Piazza Teatro, the quay at the port, Via Statuti Marittimi. But take a look around. Today, Trani is resplendent, and the port is bustling with activity. How much history has passed through these streets? These fishing boats practice Gaetana fishing today, just as they did 400 years ago, and it has always contributed to the thriving economy of these areas. Many men have been able to value their past, love their life, and their history just as they are. And maybe, it's time for me to find peace in both the ups and downs of my own story. But my love for Trani is stronger than ever.